Dana White's Contender Series starts next week, and we have got the man who will be headlining the main event, fighting for a UFC contract. Wesley Schultz, how are you, sir?
I am doing great.
Yeah, so what are your emotions like heading into this? You're going to be fighting in front of UFC brass. It's your big opportunity to fight for a chance at a UFC contract. Just give us your overall emotions heading into this.
Man, I'm just pumped up to get in there and fucking scrap, man. I mean, training's fun. Like I have a really good time with it, but the worst part about this sport is you never really get to compete that much. At max, like 3-4 times a year. So being able to actually get in there and like feel like I'm an athlete, 99% of the time I just feel like I'm a fucking you know, war down service industry worker. And there's like 3 nights a year I can fucking do the whole, you know what I mean? Three times a year I can fucking jump in there and do what I claim to do. You know what I mean? Be a fighter.
Right.
When was last time you had a fight on a Tuesday night, Wesley?
Fuck. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like I have a wonky schedule as it is. Like I'm usually working Friday, Saturdays, and most of the time I gotta check my phone to see what day it is. So it's not. I'm not really tethered to a Monday through Friday schedule. So I mean that helps.
That's really interesting the way you put it about how you only fight 3 times a year. Is that something that does it make it hard to sort of like stay locked in because of the fact that you're only able to perform, publicly 3 times a year?
Yeah.
Obviously, you have your teammates. Everybody knows what you do on a daily basis, right? But that's a small circle.
Yeah.
Does that make it hard to lock in?
Sometimes, like if you went for 3 jogs a year, you wouldn't call yourself a runner,
Right.
And just like missing events and stuff while you're in camp, basically, and fights can pop up out of nowhere. So there's times you have trips planned. It's like fuck, you gotta cancel those. Or maybe someone's wedding will be like 30 weeks before the fight. So like, okay, I guess I'm DD at this event yet again.
Right. You're gonna be performing in front of Dana White, all the big UFC brass. Do you feel how you feeling about that, like pressure? Because this is obviously the most pressure you've ever felt, I imagine, or just the most expectation maybe that you put on yourself. Just what is that feeling like, knowing that you're going to be fighting in front of Dana White and all the people that make the big decisions at the UFC?
Part of it seems a little surreal. Just like I remember starting doing this like a little over 5 years ago. And it's crazy to be finally like at this point. We've had people getting ready for the fights on these Contender series before. Well, I've been in the gym and it's just always seemed like something like, oh, in the future, in the future, in the future. Well, now it's next week.
Yeah. I'm sure Mike is going to have some questions for you as well, but this is one I really wanted to ask. And you're in a unique situation because a lot of people watch Dana White's Contender series. A lot of the UFC fans are really into it, but it's an opportunity for them to watch fighters that they've never met before, never heard of before. For people who don't know you, just sort of give a brief summary of like why you believe you belong in the UFC and why they should expect from you going forward.
Well, first off, I think I have the skills. You can only beat up regional dudes for so long before you should be moving on to a bigger promotion. And so I think the time's right with that. And the UFC is looking for guys that get in and want to fight. And I always show up to fight. I've never been in a boring fight. At least I don't think so. I think I'm fucking awesome. But so I got the product. And the UFC that's what they're in the business of, putting on not just competitive but exciting fights. And I think I bring all that to the table.
For those who haven't watched you fight before, can you give us a little insight into what your style is or how you like to express yourself when you're in the cage?
Well, I like to do scrambly, jujitsu from the bottom, dominant wrestling on top. But I'm never really just sitting on top. I'm always working something, whether it's position, elbows, ground and pound. I just got a ground and pound knockout in the first round of my last fight. Uh, I'm not afraid to let things marinate, but I'll also do, I'm not afraid of getting taken down. So, I'll do dumbass kicks. I think a few times in my amateur career, I went for a high kick and just slipped on my ass. And you know what? But I don't give a shit because I don't mind fighting from bottom. Some people are scared of getting put in certain positions in the cage, and I'm really just not. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. Do you feel any extra pressure to like go for finishes or submissions or knockouts, knowing that that's probably what gets everybody knows that's what gets you a contract in the UFC if you have an amazing finish, the Contender Series? Or are you just going to stick to your game plan?
If anything, I feel like a dog let loose off the leash, because you always have to think about, if you try something big and then you get fucked up from it, you'll look like a dumbass. But I have that my built-in excuse, brother. It's Contender Series. You got to go for the sick finish. So I can do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean? And as long as as long as I'm in there working for a sweet finish, whatever happens, man.
So in your mind, it's more important to be entertaining than it is to get the finish.
For this fight, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like if sometimes in the future, some guys going with like a 15-50 contract. Okay, yeah, get the fucking win, man. But this is a job interview, and I just gotta put my best self forward if that makes sense.
I spoke to Therese Finney. He's also a middleweight. He's going to be fighting the week after you, I believe. He was on Contender Series last year. He got a finish. And he's still undefeated, but Dana White told him, we don't believe you're ready yet. So he had to go back. He had to go through the motions all over again. He's coming back, most likely with a win he's in, but you're right. They've given out contracts to people who have lost fights just as often as they do people that get like decision wins.
Yeah.
So
and it almost feels like a decision is a draw, and no one, and neither of us is gonna win with a if either of us goes to decision, unless it's like a bun. But
right. What are so you're obviously you're fighting for a contract, but you have to have like a vision for your future and a career. What are some of your dream fights in the UFC? Like if you're able to get a contract, like what's one of your dream fights?
Are you talking about like who I'm fighting, or the way, like
yeah, like do you have like a particular opponent that like you've always wanted to fight, or do you not think in those terms?
Well, I feel like the entry level, I'm gonna say entry level middleweights are never really shown off, and I never get off work until like the last 3 fights are on Saturday night cards. So I'm really not too familiar with the middleweight class outside of like the top 15. And
right.
I don't want to say shit as fuck don't want one of those right off the bat, but if your first fight's like a top 15 guy, you're probably getting called in on like 2 days notice to fill in, you know what I mean?
Right.
Can I ask what it is you do for work?
I bartend.
Bartend.
Yep.
Do you like it, or is the hope one day to
no, I dig it. I'll keep doing it after this. I just fucking run my mouth the whole time. Have a great time.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you allow yourself to think what a win on Tuesday and getting that UFC contract does for you, not only in your career but also maybe in your wider life as well?
Oh, what it would do for me? Well, I mean, part of it would vindicate me not doing a regular job the last 5 years. I graduated university and just say, hey, parents, I'm gonna move to Milwaukee, work a service industry job, and train fucking sweet martial arts moves with the hope that someday it'll pay off. Like that's not like a great long-term plan. But with a win on Contender Series, that could be the first step in maybe showing that I've made the correct decision. And if not, fuck it, I'm still a fighter.
I'm sorry. Did you say? Do you have a degree?
Yeah.
Well, what's your degree in? Out of curiosity.
It's a geography major with a biology minor and a concentration in environmental science.
Love that. That's
I
awesome.
mean,
So out of curiosity, with your bartending job, how often do you have to do your clientele? Does your clientele know what you do on the side? And do you ever have to use your skills with like rowdy drunk
no,
patrons?
I don't. I'm lucky. I'm lucky. My spots serve food, and the more like restaurants.
Yeah,
So
okay.
they're closed by like 10 at night usually, which is nice. Like I've worked in like bars before, and man, restaurant bartending, like you're not getting fucking spit on and cussed at by drunk sons of bitches. It's a lot more tame,
Right.
which is nice.
Love
And
that.
that's in Milwaukee, did you say?
Yeah,
So is that where are you training out of?
Pura Vida.
Right, okay.
All right, since you're obviously you're in the middleweight division, just curious, what are your thoughts on Izzy versus DDP next week for UFC 305? Who do you got in that fight?
Man, that's for the fucking former champ versus the fake champ, man. I don't give a shit about what happens in that fight.
Why do you say fake
What makes
champ?
you call Drickus the
Yeah.
fake champ?
Yeah, he's fucking what was it? I think Sean won that last fight.
Dana White agrees with you. A lot of fans agree with you on that one.
Yeah. So I don't know, this is for the fraudulent belt. Although if I saw either one of them in person, I'd probably be like, man, go get that fucking belt next week. Probably change my tune really quick.
Right.
Do you think Sean gets the winner? I mean, we've just seen Robert Whittaker matched up against Hamzat Chimaev. He felt like the other front runner for the middleweight
Yeah, I don't
title.
know. That's tough. I think I'm not sure the timeline of all this. I'd have to look at, like, you know what I mean? Like if they're happening within like a week of each other. Or if is that Hamzat fight after DDP?
Hamzat Whittaker is 308, so that's the 27th of October.
And DDP is he's next week?
Yeah. So about
Okay, I
7 weeks difference.
Yeah, okay. I think Sean probably gets it then. Because you have to wait for that 308 to conclude, and then you have to give him like another 3 months. So that's more likely.
Yeah,
Like, Izzy fights a lot when he was a champion, right?
this is the longest layoff of his career.
Yeah. So I mean, he'd want to get back in the DDP. I don't know.
But before that, Izzy was like one of the most active champions in
He
the
was
UFC.
underappreciated.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining me, man. This is something I like to do. This is my own little fun segment. Just I want to give people a little insight into how you view your favorite fighters in MMA. So I want you to build the perfect fighter with me. So we have 5 categories. We have grappling, we have striking, we have power, we have fight IQ, and oh god, what was the other one? I'm blanking on it. Grappling, striking, fight IQ. Just give me. Let's do 4. Build a perfect fighter. Grappling, striking, fight IQ, and power.
Okay, shit. Power. I'm going Ngannou.
There you go.
You said striking's one.
Striking.
Ooh. Cody Garbrandt versus Dominic Cruz. That specific Cody Garbrandt. Grappling. Let's do. I'd say, fuck. I want to think of like a defensive grappler. Just keep it on the feet, you know. I think with what we've built with the first 2, you don't even really need to go to the ground. So who doesn't really get taken down?
Holloway.
You know,
I thought Sandhagen did pretty well against Umar, but even though he lost the fight, his defensive grappling was pretty good.
I didn't watch that, but I heard that was a really good fight.
Yeah.
Maybe Strickland? He doesn't get. Does
He is
he
tough
not get taken down? He's a pretty good takedown defense, right?
He's never really been he's never really been taken down and controlled since the Kamaru fight. That was like 2015, 16.
Okay, we'll do that. Strickland takedown defense. And then
Fight IQ.
what was the last one? Fight IQ? Shit. Damn. Maybe Bilal.
I like that.
Although I don't get why he took him down that first round. It looked like Leon had like the 1,000-yard stare and went for the takedown. I mean, it worked out well.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was freaking out when that happened. I was like, what the fuck?
Right. I remember the 5th category, cardio. Best top cardio.
Oh shit. Probably Umar. Or shit. I'm thinking one of these little guys that shoots all the maybe Marab shooting like a million takedowns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gotta be exhausting. Although if you're just a little fella, like you can't be using too much energy.
Yeah. Dude.
I'd like to see someone over 185 try that. They'd probably have a fucking cardiac arrest in the cage.
Oh man. Well, Wesley, thank you so much, man. Appreciate your time. Just before we go, where do you see yourself a year from now? Obviously, you got a big opportunity coming up next week. Where do you want to see yourself a year from today?
In the UFC, ideally with 2 fights under my belt in the UFC. I don't know, maybe Brazil on a sweet fight card or something. I don't know. Anyway, I want to win this next week and then get some fights with crowds.
Yeah,
I love fighting for crowds. Like that was my only hesitancy or whatever about Contender Series is it's kind of in like a big box.
Right.
But yeah, that's why I see myself.
Is there a destination
right after the fight? Yeah.
Is there a destination or a stadium or a country that there's a bucket list for you that you want to fight in?
Oh man, Florida doesn't have. I believe Florida doesn't have income tax, so maybe Florida. And I think flights down there are pretty cheap, and you have to buy. So I'd save money on flights for 2 of my coaches. I think they give you 1 flight for 1 coach, and yeah, I think that'd be maximizing my payout, and it's Florida. It's a good time.
That is a very smart one. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that seems like a Midwestern fucking answer to me.
It is. Strickland, though, he said how he had to fight his last 2 fights, and one of them was in Australia, and then the other one was in Canada. So he's lamented about how much he's had to pay on income tax in his last 2 fights.
Yeah,
so
the Commonwealth doesn't.
Yeah,
they don't hold back.
Right. Well, Wesley, best of luck, man. Fighting on Dana White's Contender Series Week 1 main event. Best of luck, and we'll be rooting for you. All right.
Hell yeah! Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. All right. Best of luck, man.